So this video is going to look at the Part D for Sin and Forgiveness on baptism is a more important sacrament than the Eucharist. Now, for this question, I'm going to be focusing on baptism and Eucharist as they are both in the question. So I'm going to do a paragraph on baptism and I'm going to do a paragraph on the Eucharist, and then in my conclusion, I'm going to say which one is the most important sacrament of the two. That also means I do need to know what a sacrament is. So that is probably what I am going to start my entire essay off with. So, a sacrament is an outward sign of inward grace. It shows grace, that is given to us by God. It is by the sacramental nature of reality that God speaks and spiritually nourishes us. Baptism is the very first sacrament of initiation. It is through baptism that the Catholic faith is entered, and it gives hope of salvation through following the teachings of Jesus. The font is the place in the church in which baptism takes place, and through the holy water, original sin is washed away. Original sin is the sin of Adam and Eve, found within Genesis 3. So I've got my points, I've now got my evidence. Catholics believe that all humans are born with the stain of original sin, and through baptism we are cleansed of this. Baptism brings the person into the body of Christ, giving them an important role to now play in the church and the mission that Jesus gave us all in John 21. So I've said what baptism is. I've said that it washes away original sin. I've got my Genesis 3 original sin information. Now that Catholics are born with original sin and that it gets away from that, but then the role that they then need to play. With the body of Christ and with John 21. Most Catholics will then baptize their babies in order for them to grow within the tradition of the Church and be a part of the community. Now, there is other information I could put in here, especially about Jesus' baptism, but I'm going to leave that now for my conclusion. So I then need to move on to the Eucharist section. The Eucharist is also an important sacrament. Whereas baptism shows you becoming part of God's community, the Eucharist is the source and summit of Christian life. It unifies them with God through receiving the transubstantiated host. During Eucharist, Jesus' sacrifice on the cross is the main focus, and so the prayer of consecration can be seen as the highest form of prayer. Catholics at this time will give thanks to God and the priest will repeat the words of Jesus. This is because the priest is reenacting the Last Supper. Therefore, the Eucharist is the very heart of Catholic worship. And is celebrated every day within the Catholic Church, except Easter Saturday, as that is the only day of the year in which Jesus is officially dead, and so no Eucharist can be taken. That is the 2 paragraphs. I then need a conclusion, but that will be in the next video. So please look at that if you would like to see the conclusion. If you just wrote that, you cannot get more than 3 marks because you have not got a conclusion yet. So please watch the conclusion video to see how this ends.